Welcome to another glorious day of Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. I'm Atmadarshan, or Laura, and I was at the baseball game cheering last night, voice on. It's wonderful to see you, and it's wonderful to be connected with you. I receive questions about these programs often, which I love, and comments as well, which I enjoy. Thank you. And I received a question recently I thought would be interesting to address, and it might be wrapped up in just this one time together, or we might continue it. We'll see how it goes. And the question was phrased very poetically. It was, "Oh, hello. Is that a hummingbird?" No, but it's a cute bird. Anyhow, it kind of plays into the question, which was, does Arjun ever fall in love with his own reflection, so to speak, and then have a disagreement with Krishna? It reminds me of the myth of Narcissus from Greek and Roman mythology. And the answer is yes, Arjun does. I know the gist of the question, but there's also something deeper behind it. From the Bhagavad Gita's point of view and the Mahabharata's point of view, and a lot of different traditions' point of view, this world is a reflection of what's inside us. It really doesn't exist on its own per se. Like what I'm seeing, what you're seeing, that's not the world. That's just what our eyes can take in. It's what the sun is reflecting back to our eyes, who have been designed to catch a reflection. So, in one sense, if we fall in love with anything around us, like I got entranced by that bird, yes, we're falling in love with our own reflection because we're not really seeing reality. We're perceiving what our senses, and then even more importantly, what the mind allows us to see. So, for example, I used to work in psychiatry, and there are conditions called conversion disorders, where a person has a fully functioning sense organ, yet is unable to access the information from that organ, such as conversion blindness. A trauma has happened, somebody has seen something that they just can't process, and they stop processing information from the eyes. So even though they physically could see, there's nothing wrong with the eyes themselves. The mind blocks. This happens more often than we realize. We look at people and we often don't see them. We see a reflection of ourselves. So, for example, if someone is blaming you for something or seems mad at you for something, it's not usually you, it's them feeling bad about themselves, or conversely, feeling good about themselves. So, for example, I was at the baseball game last night, and I think one of the reasons sport is so popular the world over is the idea of the underdog coming back. So, the home team last night came back and won. Yes. It seemed like they wouldn't be able to. In fact, they were ahead. And then the other team caught up, and things happened. Pitchers got hit by balls. People seemed to be breaking the rules. Anyhow, but the home team won. They came back and won it. We want to see that in ourselves. We want to see that when the odds are stacked against us, when we're playing a better team, when nothing seems to be breaking our way, when the refs or the world are against us, we want to see that we can still triumph. We want that. That's why we crave that. And that's why sometimes we get so upset when we see our team falling down. It's not the world often, it's our interpretation of it. So part of this idea of Gita study is to try to realize what is reflection and what is reality. from the Gita's point of view, if we are established in absolute reality, everything becomes beautiful and a source of joy. Not because it's the source of joy, but because we've tapped into the joy that is us. According to yoga physiology, at our deepest layer, we are simply pure joy. And that's why often people seek those spiritual states, but you can't get it from outside. And you can't get it from other people's validation. It's got to be inside, and that's the hard part of the journey. That's why this journey of the Gita is so hard and why people read about it. As you'll find in chapter 1, Arjuna is like dejected with himself. But we're coming up on chapter 18, and what do you think happens then? Well, spoiler alert. No, we'll find out. But we'll talk more about this idea of falling in love with our own reflection, because there are a couple examples in the Mahabharata, the Gita source text, where Arjun does fall in love with his idea of himself, and then what happens after that, and how he reconciles with Krishna. If the Gita is a reflection, when we read it, Arjun represents ourselves, and Krishna, our ego selves, our limited identification, and Krishna is our soul. And sometimes they do seem to be at odds, but they make up. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. Ooh, I'm excited for tomorrow, and I'm excited to dedicate this practice to Anjali and to Dee Dee, who have been watching quite faithfully and commenting. And I do appreciate that as always. It's about connection. You are part of me. I am part of you. It's good to acknowledge that. In our practice today, if you wish, you can acknowledge this idea with not really a mudra that I found in different texts, but this is part of a posture I've seen done. And it involves doing the posture and holding a hand up like a mirror. This idea of that reflection. And today I invite you to, you can use this in a couple ways. You can look at it as you are holding up a mirror, and what do you see about yourself? All right. Or you can look at the hand and you can reflect. What do I seem to perceive about my hand? What is it really? Like today when I was doing my yoga practice, I had the sense of, my body is doing this, and then I realized, but where does my body end and the rest of the universe begin? As I'm moving air, which is moving that bush and moving that tree. We're all connected. I'm moving the earth right now, all from my hand. So can we see reality? Can we see beyond reflection? That is the biggest challenge of spiritual life. Well, no. The biggest challenge is seeing the reality behind the reflection and finding the compassion and joy in it. Now let's find some joy in our practice. I'm in my jams. I love my jams. Whew. Here we go. Let's switch. All righty. Contemplation time. You can use mirror mudra, either hand if you wish. Reflect. Whatever you're doing, reflect. Welcome back. Whew. I had the most amazing experience with that particular practice. I had my hand up and I was looking at my hand, and then all of a sudden my eyes softened and I could actually see what was behind my hand. The focus just shifted and it was like I could see through it. And then it changed shapes. Like one finger would pop back into view. I'd have a one-fingered hand. I'll be doing that more often. Whatever your experience was, I hope you enjoyed it. It's reminding me actually of the experience I'm having right now. If I focus hard, all I see is myself reflected in this video. However, if I soften my focus, I feel like I can see you. And we have that real connection. Oh, thank you for this opportunity. Let's talk more about reflections tomorrow, shall we? Until then.